Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is Friday, so you already know what that means. It's another episode of Hold On. They changed up the screen on me. It's another episode of MillenniYell with Billy.
It's from golfing.
Billy and Mel. So it's such an amazing episode because if you think about it, it's 50, right? We are at the 50th episode, guys. So with that said, Mel didn't know I was going to do this, but with 50 episodes in.
Are you going to shotgun a beer?
No, I was just going to drink it. I'm way past shotgunning a beer.
I'm way past. Oh, gosh. Billy's.
Cheers.
Celebration.
Celebrating.
Now I need one.
Yes, you need to run and go get one. I'll talk to them.
Okay, I'm going.
Look at that. That's what I love about doing live shows, guys, is that you just do whatever you want, right? But it's our 50th episode, so we are so excited to have this with you guys. Before we get into the episode, right, talking to Mel, right, and telling her, and just kind of talking about like where this has come from. You know, if you think about it, we've come through the pandemic, right? We've come through a lot of different stuff. We are at 50 episodes. I would have never dreamt that we've made it this far, but we have. So that's amazing in itself. And
You're
so
gonna be jealous.
Oh, a little
Trogs, raspberry lime tart ale, cracker open.
Yeah, this is it's called Lot 3. It's actually a brewery back from my hometown. Cheers.
Let's do this like in the this way to the screen. We're horrible.
But I was actually talking to Mel, and it's just crazy to think about like how far we have come, and like the production of this, the content of this. It's just absolutely amazing. But before we gonna get into our episode today, and to be honest, like I just literally got off the golf course maybe about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And that's the power of being your own boss, right? You can just go to a golf course and just hit a couple balls. But before we get into what we're going to be talking about today, because I know you guys are super excited, right? If you are here, by the way, please make sure you comment below, right? You see the little ticker that's going along, like, share, comment. We want to interact with you guys. We want to get some content from you guys. So, interact with us. But
tell us what tell us what you've always wanted to do, right?
Yeah. So, but Mel, how are you doing? We actually, guys, if you didn't know this, we actually hung out on Monday.
We did. It was Monday.
So,
yeah.
But Mel, how's your week been? How has since Monday been for you?
Good. Busy. We are putting up the new websites, so stay tuned for that. We can talk about that next week. But I've been working on that. And do you like my birthday celebration?
I love it.
Decor here for us?
I did not do that. I'm in a different location today, so.
Well, we all know that I like to, party planner extraordinaire over here. But good. Yeah, it's just been busy. And one thing that we'll be talking about that I've always wanted to do, I've been doing this week a couple times as well, that you were just doing. So pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I played really bad the first 6 holes. Like, I mean, terrible. And we started playing at 8, like almost at 8:30 this morning.
Okay, early.
So we were early. But then on the back 9, my brother-in-law had gotten a couple of beers. Right, I cracked open the first beer. Right on the 10th hole, I hit a birdie. So I was like, I should have started drinking at like.
It makes you better.
At 8:30, maybe I would have played a little bit better on the first front 9. So
yeah, I feel like because learning to golf and all these things that I've been talking to people that sometimes they're better with drinks and then sometimes not. So I don't know. It's like when you're playing beer pong, cornhole. You're better with a couple drinks.
Well,
but it's not the same.
No, but my father-in-law was like, I hit the birdie, right? And he goes,
yep.
He goes, the only reason you hit that birdie is you broke open that beer, right? And you got a little bit more loose, right? It was real rigid. And he's like, you got a little loose on you. And I said, hey, whatever it takes, right?
Yes. Hey, good for you.
But maybe one of these times we'll have to have a MillenniYell golf outing. I think that would be really fun to do. We need to sponsor a hole. We talked about that in another podcast.
Yeah.
But anyways, what we're talking about today, since it's our 50th episode, we're going to be we might not get to all 50, right? We might not get to all 50, but we're going to talk about the top 50 things that we have on our bucket list, right? Yep. And for those that don't know what a bucket list is, those are things that you want to do before you're not here anymore. And so we definitely have a lot of cool things that we want to talk about today. And if you're watching, right, there's 5 people watching right now. So we need to know what your top 5 bucket list things are in the comment section, right? Start listing them. So I think ladies first, we should start we should start with Mel. Mel, what is one of the top things that you want to do in your bucket list?
I'll go with 2 things because I just gave one away, which was I wanted to learn to golf. I never really wanted to. I thought it was so difficult, like eye, hand, body, hip movement, concentration, mental, putting it all together was very difficult, but I just started. So that's one of them. So I'll put that one out there because it just was in the last couple weeks that I did that. And I'm very proud of myself and I'm getting a lot of blisters, but that was definitely something that I wanted to do. So I'll start, and these aren't in any order, but some of them are hilarious. So I have always wanted a police ride along, like in the car, right?
Like you like an escort?
Is
that what you're talking about? Okay.
No, like apparently, I guess this actually doesn't really happen that much, but there's this whole thing that I've seen in the movies or whatever, that if you said to a cop, I want my ride along, like you're supposed to be allowed to have like a ride along in a cop car at some point. I don't know. I just saw it in a movie or I don't know, something. So I had said to a couple of police officers in my, let's say over the last 10 years, I'm like, I want my ride along. Of course, I've been out at a bar drinking, and they're like, yeah, no, Melissa, you're not getting in the car. And I just was like, well, I want to get in. I want to be on the police chase. I want to be in the car. Give me a gun. Give me a bulletproof vest.
A gun. No.
And they're like, no, Melissa, you're definitely not getting a gun. And I'm like, oh, come on, I'm going to be back up. And yeah, so I'll go on 3 because I want to be a detective. If I could go back, if I didn't have my own businesses, or if I went, I would absolutely I would love to be a police officer and a detective. I just like the idea of I'm really good at figuring shit out. And I also want to wear a gun and a badge like Olivia Benson from SVU, and, like just high heels, or not high heels, but, so yeah, that there's 3 right there, but the ride along, and they're like, we're not giving you, no, they don't do ride-alongs apparently anymore. I'm gonna ask actually my friend Jason's a cop, but yeah, that's interesting. They wouldn't let me. They're like, the only thing that you're gonna do is press the button, like the siren button. That's the only thing that they would let me do if I did it. But I definitely want a ride along, and I would hope that there would be some type of police chase while I'm in the car.
I'm trying to imagine you getting out of a police car. I don't know if I can quite imagine that quite yet.
If I was a detective,
that would be interesting. I would be like, either this girl is going to just like beat me to the ground, or like I'm going to be able to outrun her. So one of my bucket lists, right, going along, I think it's really interesting what you just said, because one of my bucket list things is on the opposite end of being a police officer. Like, I want to ride to a major fire on a fire engine, like lights blaring, like the whole 9. Like, I get to spray the hose. like me and Megan were talking about this yesterday, because in Lancaster, I don't know if you saw in the news, I don't know if it made it over to your area, but there was a local like candy store that burnt to the ground.
No, I didn't see that.
And it's like a major distribution of candy around in the Ephrata area. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the only reason we knew is because it's like close. It's probably only 2 miles away from our house. And I just saw this big puff of black smoke, and Megan was like, "Oh, somebody's burning." So I said, "No, that's a building on fire. Like, there's a difference. You can tell." And but I just saw those guys, those ambulances, and those fire trucks riding to the area. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to fight fires. We were discussing that, me and my Megan. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to actually get into the firefighting. Those guys and gals do an amazing job, like just like the police officers, right, do an amazing job. I don't know if I could do that day in, day out, but like I would at least want to be like, I rode to a fire, right? And like had like some a helmet on and stuff like that. I think that would be really fun.
That's awesome. Just not like do the work, like have to go into the fire, like they do, and risk their lives.
Yeah, maybe the guy that's just pointing out stuff like, "Hey, there's a fire over there, guys. Like, go take care of that." Like, I'm just gonna, I'm just like,
the supervisor.
Hey. Yeah, the supervisor, right? Just pointing out stuff like, "Hey, we should probably hook up this hose over here and start spraying that fire," right? It's like a pretty good idea. But yeah,
oh my god,
that's a big one of mine. Would be riding to like some type of on a fire truck.
That's cool. So my police ride along, is not too far off from your fire truck ride along.
Yeah.
So I want to play with baby tigers. I want to have
Tiger King. Are we talking about like Tiger King or
babies?
Okay.
I want to just play around with baby tigers, like little babes, little cubs. Like how cute! And they're like,
I did watch that documentary on Tiger King, and the baby tigers did look cute. It's just when they get really big, right? Just
babies.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I could get down with that. In some type of setting. I think a big one for me is, I was just thinking about it, is I would love not to be like the lead role, right? I don't want to be the lead role necessarily, but to be in a movie. To be,
I have that. I have that too.
Maybe just a speaking line, and I'm going to get very specific though of who I want to be in a movie with.
Okay.
I think it would be so much fun to be in a movie, and they actually are in a movie together. It's called The Bodyguard, or not The Bodyguard. It's like something along those lines, but it's Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And Samuel L. Jackson. I think those two guys would be an amazing movie to be in. I mean, there's a ton of other actresses and actors I would want to be in a movie with, but I think like to be an extra, some type of deal, but like have some type of like minute speaking line, like where you're asking the main person like a question, I think would be really fun.
I know, I have that down. I'd love to be in a movie, but what's better than being in a movie? Writing a movie. So I have a concept, an idea, a concept of a movie that is fantastic. And I've actually told it to a couple people, and they love it. And it's a Will Ferrell movie. This is like made for Will Ferrell. And I don't know anything about screenwriting, screenplays or writing. Obviously we could write anything, but I found out I was taking an Uber a couple weeks ago, and the guy actually wrote a screenplay. Like we were talking somehow about writing a movie, and he told me that right now it's just a concept, but then you actually have to sit down and you have to like write out everything, and then there's casting, and then there's obviously all these different things that go to it. But I had this great idea. We all know ideas are just ideas, but I would love to write this movie and see. I don't know. So I guess you have to like submit it, but.
What's the movie about? What would be?
I don't want to tell you. I can't tell you.
Wait, what do you mean you can't tell
say this? People are going to steal my idea. It's a funny. It's a comedy. Let's just say it's a mix between like a dodgeball ish, like Step Brothers, like that.
So funny movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
Comment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want Will Ferrell to be. I want to pitch it to him to be the main character. So write a movie.
See, you just need to go ahead and write it and then pitch it to him, because at the very least that would happen, like the very worst thing that would happen is that you don't get any contact. But the best thing that could happen, you'd be like, this is an amazing movie. We need to start filming it. And then all of a sudden we take this podcast from like where we're at now to having Will Ferrell on it. Right.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Even though he's not a millennial, right? But it's fine.
Definitely.
I mean, we grew up on Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
So he definitely helped raise me in a sense. Old school. I'm thinking about, what's the name of the movie?
Well, I was going to say
Wedding
Elf.
Crashers.
Wedding Crashers, Elf. Yeah, it's like that, but it's kind of more of an action. I realize it's about sporties. But okay, I'm not going to give it away anymore.
I was trying. Listen, millennialers.
I was trying to get it
out of her, but
next.
So this has to go a lot along the lines of this stuff right here.
Oh.
So I don't want to open my own brewery, right?
Okay.
I talked about it before with Megan. We talked about like one time like opening a brewery, and we were going to call it Lazy Dog Brewing Company is what the name of it was going to be, or Shaggy Dog.
I was gonna say, isn't there something called Lazy Dog? Something
or like Shaggy Dog Brewing. But I would love to just create my own beer and like sell it to like a major company. Mm-hmm. And then like them produce it, and then me just get to drink it all the time.
And then
because I'm a little jealous. My brother-in-law, there's a brewery right by your place, Pizza Boy Brewing Company.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have a beer called Murrin River.
Okay,
that beer is named after my brother-in-law, and his last name is Murrin. And so they named a beer after him, and so I would love to have that ability or have that. You know, that thing to have a beer named after me. I don't know what it would be called, but I would love to have a beer named after me.
That's funny. Or like an item on a menu. I had put that on there because my ex-boyfriend had that up in Canada. They go to this place, and he went for so long that he would order the sandwich, and they, like a custom one kind of, and it's on the menu as like the Alex burger. So I don't know what it was, but that would be really cool, is to have your own sandwich or a something on a menu at a restaurant, like a beer. But I had on there, like a menu item. I wrote that down wrong. So I want. Speaking of Monday, when Billy and I were together and Meg, and we went to Carly's product launch party, I would love to invent something. Carly invented a product that was a problem. Obviously, it's for people that play violins, like a bow, and it's a handle. So you put your fingers in it like this, and it holds the bow so that you don't have to hold it, I guess, in your hand. So it's like hands free kind of, right? But you had like the little things on there. And that's what we were talking about on Monday was, inventing something it's usually something that solves a problem. So there's all these things, and we got into it like, when you're doing something and you're like, it'd be great. You really need to do this, or I wish we had this. And we forget to write these things down and then actually ever do them. But I would love to, come up with an invention. And I don't know.
No, I mean, I love that idea because like you always like what they say, the best inventions like solve a problem, right? And so like you're going through your everyday life and you're like, I don't know, did she play the violin? Is that why she came up with that idea?
I didn't ask her. I don't know that actually. I'll have to ask her because she's in fashion and she's a seamstress. So she's she has
a couple of businesses.
Yeah, she's an entrepreneur. Yeah.
And by the way, we have to give a major shout out to her. First of all, she's a Gen Zer, right? She's only 19. Yeah. And she's not your typical 19-year-old, right? It's somebody that we can actually have a conversation with as millennials, right? Yeah. Most of the time, they want to make fun of us because we have our side parts, we have our mom jeans, right, and all those other stuff, right? But she's really cool. But she came up with a cool idea that solves a problem, and I think like whenever you're watching Shark Tank or anything like that, the best inventions are the ones that solve a problem. So that's really, really cool. And I think, I mentioned something, and I'm not going to mention it out loud because I don't want anybody to steal my idea and be a multi-billion-dollar company. So I won't mention the idea that I had. Look! Speak of the devil.
She wrote, "Congrats
on the
50th." Yeah, Carly.
We were just singing your praises.
Ears must have been burning.
We're going to have her on the podcast. We already talked about it. Yeah. She's down, so we're going to have her on and talk about that. But I think a major one for me, right? I'm big into sports, love sports. And I want to go to every major sporting event that you could possibly go to. So like World Series game, NFL Super Bowl, the NHL.
Oh, so like the biggest
Cup.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So like the championship game.
yeah,
Yeah.
like even in soccer, like go to the Europe, like like however they do it, like in soccer, like the finals or whatever, the Euro Cup, right? I want to go to at least one major sporting event like that before, before it's all over and said and done. I think that would be so much fun to like, just like, not even like go Europe, but just like travel the country.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I got into the Netflix Formula One series, and I absolutely want to go to a Formula One race. Monaco would be awesome, but there's some really cool spots that have the Formula One race, and I would love to go. I think we did talk about that when we were talking about where we want to like travel. We had done that one podcast, but I'd love to go and just be like somewhere down in that whole area, like where you see on that show, like the behind the scenes where the crews all are at. And I would love to do that.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of travel, right? We talked a whole, we're at 50 episodes now. So that was so long ago that we talked about where we want to travel to. But obviously on the bucket list for me being Italian is Italy. Right, Sicily specifically, but would love to go there. Would love to go to Europe. I don't know if I'm on my bucket list is any like Asian countries per se. Like, Japan would be fun, but I think if I had a choice right off the bat, it would have to be Europe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I've been to Japan when I was out of middle school.
Yeah, we talked about
because
that.
I studied Japanese, so I would love to go back as an adult because you just definitely don't appreciate the same things as 13 years old. Obviously, I would love to go back there, but first I would love to go to Italy too and Norway. We were joking about all this on Monday night because our friend's Italian, and we're obviously all Italian, but we were talking about going to Italy and stuff, and I had thought that I was half Italian, half Irish until I was 27 years old. So I was living a lie, and I was lying to myself and everybody. I thought because my sister had red hair, blue eyes, and my real dad had reddish brown hair, and somehow I always said I had pasty white Irish skin and my mom's dark Italian, hair and eyes.
You have super dark hair.
And now my eyes are actually hazel. They're turning green. But I said something about being Irish, and maybe we were doing St. Patty's Day, and my mom's like, "You're not Irish." And I was like, What the hell? What do you mean? I've been telling everybody I'm half Italian, half Irish, pasty white Irish skin. That's why I had to get my spray tans, guys, from Bronze Bunny. But
look at that, another plug.
She was like, "No, you're not Irish at all." She's like, "Maybe like a tiny." She goes, "No, the red hair, blue eyes is Norwegian because my nanny had red hair and blue eyes, but because I only knew her with white hair and blue eyes. I saw pictures of her, which was reddish, but I didn't even think. I was like, my sister had red hair and blue eyes. Oh, we must be Irish." And she's like, "No, we're not Irish." So I'm now embracing my Norwegian, my Viking heritage, and somewhat Scottish. I think that's the other part that has. But yeah, so I've always wanted to go to Italy because of that. But now we have family in Norway that that we're all on Facebook now. When we did that Ancestry.com thing, my uncles had done it a long time ago, and my nanny. Somebody found my nanny. She was the only person from the family in the United States that was still alive, and he actually came. He was like a second, third cousin, and about our age, a couple years younger. And he actually came. He was in DC, and his whole family, his parents, his aunts, uncles, all of these relatives and distant cousins of my nanny, we're friends with on Facebook. So I would love to go to Norway and see them because not a lot of us know family, that are living in other countries that we can go and visit.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, you're especially for having Italian in you, and usually Italian women are short, and you're kind of tall for being. What are you like? You're at least 5'7", 5'8"?
No, 5'5" 3/4". I push it to 5'6".
But with your heels on, you're.
Oh yeah, I'm sure with heels I could push 5'7". Sure, maybe more.
But no, that would be cool. I think Norway would be such a cool place to go.
Yeah, the pictures that I've seen, we're on Instagram and you travel or you follow like the travel sites and stuff, and I'm always seeing stuff with Norway and in the mountains and the lakes and all these little like cute villages, and I would love to go there. We talked about obviously we talked about the travel. We did the whole podcast about where we would want to go. So I had talked about Lake Louise and a couple other spots, but I would love, I don't know if we talked about this on there, so I added this for today. I want to do a cross country. I want a camper. Like I want to get a camper. Okay. That's one of my things. So I have get a camper, but with the camper, I want to do a cross country. And you can go up either through Canada and then back through the United States, or just go like, on the northern part of the US and then come down on the south, but like a couple months, go, and just stop and not have any. I mean, there could be a couple places you want to go, but like just going and just stopping wherever you want and seeing the country, in a camper.
No, it was so funny that you mentioned that, because a couple of weeks ago, me and Megan are driving back from the beach, and we were talking about like campers, like which campers we like, because there's multiple ones, right? There's the big bus ones, right? They look like a giant bus. There's the ones that look like the ones that you drive in, but they look like a little like U-Haul truck. And then there's the ones that you pull behind, right?
Right.
And I would love, and I'm gonna, just harp on what you said, because it's definitely one of the ones I want to do, is just like have one of those ones that look like a little U-Haul truck. It's just me, Megan, the dogs, right? We're driving just through every state and just like visiting like the major things that are in those states, because we talked about this, right? Yes. Do we want to go abroad and experience other cultures and stuff like that? But inside the United States, there are so many things to go explore that people forget that, right? They forget, like, there's the West Coast, right? Mm-hmm. There's the North, the northern parts of the states. Like some of those states don't have a lot of people in them, and there's not a ton going on there, but there are major cities there that I would love to just say, hey, I was there, right? I've been there, got the T-shirt and had the opportunity.
Yeah, and just, see the United States. There's so much history. And I absolutely want to do that. I think it would take, it would take a long time. Like you're like months, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it would take at least, I would feel like it would take at least like almost a good year to do that. Like to like legit, like, I don't know, if Brandon's on, maybe he can run the math for us. If you had to time, a day or two in each state, like how long would that take you? Like a weekend, a week in each state. Well, there's 52 weeks, right? So if you spend a week in each state, maybe you could get through it in a year, right?
Oh my! This is longer than I expected. I don't know. I don't know if I have time for that.
I mean, let's be honest. How long can you spend in Idaho? I don't know if we have any Idaho listeners, but I don't know how long you could spend in that state. I like this one, right? And I think this doesn't have to be a national thing. This could be a local thing. But I would love, even though there's a lot of pressure with doing this, because we've seen throughout history, a lot of people have struggled at this, even the most athletic people, throwing the first pitch out at a baseball game.
Oh, Sap, I thought you were going to say learn to juggle, because that's on my list. I've always wanted to learn to juggle, but throwing the first pitch is actually really cool. I met an older gentleman here in Hershey who his family has third or fourth generation thrown the first pitch out at the Senators game. I don't know who. Really? I don't remember his name. I could find out, but his family, it was like his dad, him, his son, his grandson, and now it would be, I think his grandson just had a kid, like his probably like 20s or 30s and had a kid. So now it's going to be, and their family has done it.
I think we need to like get in contact with the Harrisburg. What is it? The Senators?
Senators, yeah.
And MillenniYell needs to throw the first pitch out at a game.
Well, we can't take it from the poor family. That's 6 generations.
Yeah, but like, so what? They're throwing out every home game? Like,
no. Sorry, the first pitch of the first game. No. I see. Okay.
Yeah, just a game. I don't.
Okay, yeah. So they do like the season, like the first pitch of the every year.
Well, I know Carly's watching, and I know she's got some connections because she had the senator there.
Yeah. She's got tickets. We're gonna go. Me and her.
Yeah. So you guys need to get with whoever the person is there.
All right, Carly, we're on it.
And we need to throw the first pitch out as MillenniYell. So, and then awesome. I can X out one off my list.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Out of the game. So what about you? Next one is to you.
Okay. Well, I put the typical skydive. Actually, when I was looking for the meme, because it's mine this week, it was like, oh, what's on your bucket list? Let me guess, skydive, because it's like on everyone's like either bungee jump or skydive. But definitely afraid of both, because I'm just afraid that the bungee cord's going to snap and I'm going to plummet to my death, or my parachute's not going to open. But I definitely, I'm like, oh, well, someone else will be strapped with you, and then they can come and dive in, and if your parachute doesn't open. But I haven't done it because I've been so afraid. But skydive, definitely want to do that.
So Carly was watching, and she just DM'd me, and so she's going to work on it for us. So I appreciate it.
Yes.
And soon, maybe next episode, maybe we'll have her on. We're due for an interview. So Carly, if you're still watching, you're next.
Friday.
Next Friday, get prepared, right? We're gonna embarrass the crap out of you. No, this is something that I've always wanted to do as a physical standpoint. I've really gotten into cycling.
Yep.
And so one of the big things with cycling, comparative, I hate running. Like, I don't know about you, but running is the most boring thing in the world. Like 2 miles, and or even a mile, I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. But I've always in cycling, riding 100 miles is always kind of the big benchmark that people hit. Like, there's plenty of people that go further than that and go under that, but that's kind of a big deal. And so I would love to train to ride I've already mapped it out, to ride from a little bit past, right in, at the top of Delaware to the beach. And that would be roughly about 100 miles. So I would love to do that, because that would just be something, physical that you can just say, you can hang your hat on, be like, oh, wow, I accomplished that. Right. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I would. I got into. I have a hybrid, so I was doing some riding when I was in Mechanicsburg, and I have to kind of get back out. I need to find some spots here in Hershey that aren't as many cars, which is very hard because of the tourists. But I'm kind of afraid to go back on the road just yet. But yeah, that's awesome. I was with somebody last night whose wife is doing an 80-mile thing this weekend. There's it's actually something going on. There's something going on around here, but I guess she's doing some type of long thing too. So I don't know if I could withstand that that long, but I would love to do it. So on something very similar to that, as far as bikes. So I want a motorcycle, and my ex-husband and all the guys that I dated were like, Melissa, you're never getting a motorcycle. You won't be able to hold it up, which is bullshit, because I know women that, are my size or smaller that ride motorcycles, but they're like, oh, no, they're unsafe. You could die, this and hit gravel and all this stuff. But I absolutely have always wanted to be a badass biker chick and just have a bike. They're like, oh, you can get a Vespa, a scooter. And I was like, no, I want a bike. And because I want to be in a biker gang. And they're like, yeah, no, Melissa, biker gangs. And I was like, yeah, I just want to show up at the bars and the biker bars and have my leather pants. Well, I got my rock shirt on already. I just want to do and wear my leather vest and be a part of the gang. And they're like, Melissa, biker gangs, legit. We know this, the famous Hell's Angels. These are there's guns, there's drugs, there's killing people, some of these bad biker gangs. I'm like, I don't need to be in one of those. I can be in a nice biker gang. But we'll see. I'd like to. So motorcycle, biker gang.
Motorcycle. Wow, I would have never have guessed that. That was.
I want to be a badass bitch.
What was that song you kept talking about? That just reminded me.
It was the Lizzo. That was part of our invention talk, which we're not going to talk about. The non-committal. Remember, it's a badass, be a bad bitch. So that's I mean, I'm serious about this, but going in lines of that, I'm gonna go again and follow up on my tat. So I've been wanting to get a tattoo. I never wanted a tattoo. I never had a tattoo.
We talked about this on Monday.
And that's the whole thing. This falls in line with my biker gang, bad bitch thing. I want tats now. And I've been testing, many people that know me. I've been using some temporary tats to see if I like it, but I'm sold. And, it's not something that I've always wanted, but now it's just.
I know your first tattoo. I just came up with it.
Oh God.
Are you ready for this?
Oh God.
Instead of it's going to go along with motorcycle rides. Okay.
Okay.
Just right along. All right. Instead of born to ride, it's born to design.
Oh,
look at that.
I like it.
Yeah, born to design. You're a designer.
To design. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's who you are, right?
Yep.
So
and then I'm going to put ride or die underneath a subtext.
There's my mom.
Yeah, Peggy. I'm a badass bitch with 2 tats.
She does. She has a Grateful Dead tattoo. Let's be honest.
My mom has a bunch of tats. Well, not like a bunch. She has like a ladybug on her. Her and my sister went and got.
Does dad have any tats?
My dad does. He actually got Lamb, which is our initials. I think that's his only tat though. It's LAMB, and then the B is shadowed for Laura, Amy, Melissa, Bob, and then Billy is my brother. But they had a baby that they lost right before him. That was Bobby. After him, so Lamb is his thing. And I think my brother was gonna actually get it. I don't remember, but that's funny.
No, I wouldn't have pictured. I could picture your mom having some tats. I don't know about your dad.
They're just little. I think she's got the little. She's got she's got a frog on her. I thought it was a frog actually, or a ladybug, and my sister got a ladybug. My sister actually has quite a few tats, and here's what's funny about that. My dad was jokes about her being old with the tramp stamp, the girls that have them on their backs and stuff, and being 90 years old. But she went to senior week. So long story short, I was in trouble in high school because I snuck out, I lied, I got caught, and I was never allowed to go to parties and all these things. And each time I did, I couldn't lie. They're like, "Where are you?" I'm like,
Melissa,
"No, I'm not there. Are you sure?" "Yeah." "Are you sure?" "Maybe." "Where are you?" And then I just couldn't lie. So I got caught, and I wasn't allowed to do much. And I only allowed for 2 days to go to senior week, barely. So I didn't really get to go, but my sister went because she was, never in trouble, never, Angel Amy is what we called her. That's what she got a tattoo as an angel thing. And she is down there for senior week with her best friend, and she calls, and she was 18. So I know that she could have gotten this tat either way, but I guess she called. She was like, "Hey, I want to get this tattoo. We want to get these little things." And they were like, "Well, what's it going to be?" And she's like, "Oh, dragonfly." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. That's cool. We'll okay." It's you had to ask your parents, permission to get a tattoo back then. And she comes home, and this little dragonfly that they thought maybe it was going to be this big, just somewhere small, her entire back, entire lower back. And it's dripping into water, and it's splashing this water everywhere. And they came back and they were like, "Jesus, oh my God." And because they thought it was going to be something so tiny, and it was this big tat. And then it's just they're addicting. I think, I'm sure people who have a lot of tattoos, but then she got 4 or 5 more. Little ones everywhere. So believe it or not, I have 0, and she's got probably 5 or 6. But
I have to answer this first because my mom just asked, "Did you ever get arrested senior week, Billy?" No, I did not get arrested. I've never been arrested. Okay, I've had a public intoxication once in college.
Yeah,
but never been arrested. So no,
Mom. My. Well, maybe
I've been good.
Oh, maybe that's going to be how I get my ride along in the cop car. Is the only way that I'm going to get my ride along is if I get arrested. No, I can't do that.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not good for jail. So
no, we're not.
But to go along the lines of your tattoos, I have a tattoo. I've got one on my ribs, but that was like when I was maybe a sophomore in high school or college.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be. I mean, it's at least 15 plus years at this point. Like it's got to be somewhere in that range, 12, 15-ish years. And so I want to get another tattoo. But I want to. Well, let me rephrase it. I will get another tattoo,
okay.
But I want to do a half sleeve. I think that's always been my deal. Yeah. Like I've always wanted to like have something, but like how I want it to be is not necessarily. Oh yes, Mom. I was just harassed by Ocean City Police because that's what they do. If anybody's ever been to Ocean City, Maryland before, first of all. Going on my own like tangent here,
right?
They bring in like cops, not even cops. They're just trainees from like cop school, and these guys like travel in packs and stuff like that. And so they don't really know what they're doing yet. They're just like stopping whomever. So I got harassed by a bunch of Ocean City cops because I look very intimidating as a person. Back then, I weighed 125 pounds. Right in senior week, okay, like 130 pounds. So I was a very intimidating person back then.
Yeah,
if you don't know,
but they harassed you.
So they harassed me and asked me what I was doing and stuff like that. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like there's other people you can be going after." But back to the tattoos. Like the tattoo I kind of want to have is I kind of want to have like my life story, right? So major events that have happened in my life, obviously starting with when I was born to other major events. And then as it continues, as my life continues, right, have more and more events go down my arm.
So it would just be words,
pictures, like that type of stuff.
Oh, wow.
You know, like it might be like the date I was born, maybe like, you know, a picture of Delaware where I graduated high school, Alabama, you know, Megan's name or something like that when I got married, the date that I got married. Yeah, that's cool. Just like a bunch of just almost like a time capsule, right?
Born to design.
Yeah.
So, I had actually, this is actually cool, but I had met a guy that had the longitude, latitude, like the, you know, like the, just the number, like whatever that is of
the degrees
of cities and like countries in the world that he went. And it was actually just like small. And he added to it like his favorite trips and stuff. It was pretty cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, but I forgot I wanted to put when we were talking. I know we were talking about like traveling places but I've always I want to go to Napa. I want to do the wineries.
I was gonna say
and Napa, and yeah. So that I didn't want to forget when we were talking about traveling. I have this, but I want it to be like with couples and people that just love wine. You know, I don't want to just go. I really want it to be something.
Well, something that's really cool. Too. Really cool is that we're actually going to probably it was on my bucket list for only about a couple of years, but so Maker's Mark, right, the whiskey, right, there's this really cool, if you guys go to their website, you can actually for free sign up for their ambassadors club. And so what they do is they'll put your name on a barrel of whiskey, and so it takes 7 years for a barrel of whiskey to age till they go to sell it. Right, so you're waiting this entire time. They send you little gifts and stuff like that. Well, last week we got a big thing in the mail. It said, "Hey, your barrel's of age." So it's aged 7 years. And so what happens is they will not sell a barrel. They will not sell a bottle of whiskey from that barrel until like a certain date, and then it's open to the rest of the world. They'll sell it to the rest of the world. So you have your ability to drive down there or fly down there and get your own bottle of Maker's Mark with your own label. You get to hand dip it, you know, like the red that's
that's cool.
Dip it and stuff like that. And so you actually have the ability to buy a couple of bottles. So March 22nd, so March is my birthday, March 2022, so next year. That that's when they start selling those bottles. So March 8th is my birthday, so we're gonna go down for my birthday.
Wow!
And go dip a bottle, and I'm gonna try to get as many bottles as I possibly can from them. Because
That's
one of the things that I always said when I got that, right, when we got that barrel, our name on there was other people's names on the barrel because the barrel's huge. It makes a lot of bottles. But one of my goals is to get at least 1 to 2 bottles that when me and Megan have children, right, that I could give that bottle of Maker's Mark to my son or daughter when they turn 21.
That's
now,
cool.
Are they going to have beers or drinks before they're 21? Can I say I had a beer before I was 21? Yes, I did. Right? Okay. I'm not afraid to say that. But their first legal drink,
sure, will be
from that bottle. So that was always kind of my goal. So that's something we're going to knock off the bucket list here within a year or so.
Very cool. Yeah. John, one of the owners of Travel Champs, he just went down for the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, right? Is that something like it's like a trail, I guess you can do?
Yeah. So there's Maker's Mark. It goes all the way. I think it actually goes all the way in Tennessee. So you can go to Jack Daniels, Roses, bunch of different distilleries down there.
Yeah. Speaking of that kind of trail, not that this really has anything to do with it, but I love yard sailing and like estate sales and stuff. And I've always wanted to do, it's called like the longest yard sale. And you bring like a trailer, like speaking of like campers and stuff, but you can bring like a trailer, not that I need any more shit, but it's like, but I would love to do the longest yard sale. And it's somewhere in the Midwest, I feel like, or Ohio down to Michigan or Ohio. I don't remember, but I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Well, that's not something I would want to do. But I can tell you somebody that would probably be, if she was watching, would be screaming at the top of her lungs, Megan.
Yep.
Megan would have probably the best time because she is all about the deals, the bargains, getting little knickknacks.
Yep.
From yard sales. She's like on Saturdays that if she sees a yard sale, she's like, we need to stop.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to go at like 6 a.m. I'd make my tea and I used to go out and it was just like my time. Like I loved it. And
you find some cool stuff in some yard sales. There's some good ones. Like
looking at people's stuff, like older, like older
especially
things and antiques.
Sales are cool.
I do. I used to go to them all the time. So yeah, the longest yard sale. So I have on here, I want to learn to ski. So a couple years ago, I ended up buying these skis off Facebook Marketplace. Like they were used, or I got them from actually, I think I bought them from somebody that I knew, but I never went. I was living in Mechanicsburg, 10 minutes from Ski Round Top. And I was like, I'm going to teach myself. I'm going to take lessons. I never went. And then I just sold them. I sold them. So I snowboarded high school into college. And I still here and there snowboard, but I want to learn to ski because I would love to go out west, and ski and be like a little snow bunny. Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah. I think I'm not a big like snow person. So even though we live in Pennsylvania and I moved from Alabama to Pennsylvania, right? And so now I moved back into snow. I think living on an island for a year would be really fun.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be like a deserted island. I'm not talking about that. Like an island.
Yeah.
Where there's, people, stuff like that. I think it would just be fun just to live even like the Key West, like even to live in even though it's an island, it's still connected to the United States, right? And you could drive away from there if you need to, but like just to have that beach lifestyle for like a full year, I think would be really fun. Just because I think like I'm just calmed by the water, like water calms me. Yeah. And so I think that would be really
that'd be cool. I think just and like local, if there was something like with locals and so I would love to go sailing, like either like a catamaran and you can go
like
and
sailing like deep ocean, or are we talking about just like around just like sailing in general?
Just like maybe a week-long sailing trip, like down the BVI's, or like the Virgin Islands or something, and get a couple, people, group, 5-10 people, and you can, these catamarans, some of them, there's 5 rooms, 6 rooms underneath and everything. And you obviously had to like hire somebody to. I don't want to learn to sail. I just want to go sailing.
Yeah,
and you hire a crew and and all that. And like, I have some friends that have done it, and it's really cool. But so some type of week-long kind of like sailing trip on a boat. But no, nothing crazy. I was just talking to somebody about the wave. What is this the movie Perfect Storm or something where they look and like the wave literally like comes like it's like a mile up and like engulfs this like huge. I've never seen it, but I know what happens. Okay, and no, we're not. Hopefully, not talking But
let me give you craziness, right? Because like when me and Megan went down to the Dominican for our honeymoon, right? You're allowed to get on a catamaran. Like they just show you how to use it, right? You can just go sail. And it's just like a little catamaran that's just meant for like right along the ocean, like the coastline, right? And so literally, and I'm just only saying this because like this was a tiny wave comparative to what you're talking about. This could be a couple like 60, 30, 40, 50 feet tall. Yeah. This thing was probably like a 4-foot wave. And this thing literally, like I was pulling it out because like that's how you would get this thing out. Mm-hmm. Megan's sitting on top, right? And she's still like there's a funny story besides this is that every year I have to get new sunglasses for the summer because I always lose them. Mm-hmm. So I don't ever get expensive ones. I get like the $50, $60 ones, right? That are pretty good, but if you lose them, you're not like upset about
300. Yeah.
And so I had those pair at this place. And so like I had to literally make a decision. These were expensive actually sunglasses. I think they were like $150.
Yeah.
And I literally had to make a split decision. Like, do I save Megan, my wife, right, my newly wife, or do I save these sunglasses? And to let you know, if I had that stigma of losing sunglasses, I saved my wife. I literally pulled it down as the wave was coming so she didn't get flipped over.
Right.
But like if you think about it, it's like a 4-foot wave, right? Could you imagine like a 30-foot wave?
No. How about like a 100-foot wave? There's 100 like I was watching something about the surfers that there was like the 100-foot wave or something like that. I forget.
Well, some of the surfers have to jump in from a helicopter like into the wave. Huh. Can you imagine that? That's crazy.
No. Nope.
No, not at all. So I think let's do one more piece and then we'll kind of what's Brandon? Brandon, here he is.
Don't even. The Adventures of Mel in the High Seas. Yeah. Yes. We need a crew that will go along with us. And I'm like, we're gonna die.
But let's go one more piece, right? And we'll kind of wrap this up. And so I think would be super, and it's like I said, none of these were like when you were talking about before, like none of these are like any more important than the others. Mm-hmm. But I think, and it goes along with travel for me, I think, growing up Catholic, I think this would be a really, even though I'm not Catholic now, but I think it would be really, really, really super cool to go to the Vatican. Mm-hmm. To be like, there's a difference between like just being at the Vatican and being inside the Vatican. Mm-hmm. Like I want to be in there with the Pope. Like I want to like meet the Pope, like, and all that stuff. I think like I said, for me, I think that would be a really interesting trip just because I'm very history oriented. I think that would be a really cool kind of trip for me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't have like an exciting, eventful one. I went through most of mine. I should have saved the biker gang for the last one. But.
Me either. Like I said, the Vatican one is probably for most people is not like over the top for a lot of people, but like I said, it's my bucket list, right?
I know.
It's not yours.
I've been wanting to learn another language. I mean, we studied obviously, and I told
you know Japanese, right?
Yeah, but I lost it because I learned Spanish in high school and I didn't keep up with that either.
Do you remember
so.
any Japanese?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, like, konnichiwa, watashi no namae wa Melissa desu. I was like, hello,
Oh,
my
that's a
name
little
is
bit.
Melissa. I could understand it a little bit, but it's the same vowel system as Spanish, so it was hard to.
Really?
If you don't, yeah, it's the same vowel system, but if you don't use it, you don't use it, you lose it. And I would love. I don't know. I started doing some French. But I didn't keep up with it.
I feel like France would be your jam. Like you're like.
I think I would be, yeah.
Like that would be like if you could I could totally picture you living in France.
Yeah, it's romantic.
Well, you're just like that. You're just like that design type of person, right?
Yeah.
That feel like that. I feel like France would be like one of your top places.
Yeah.
Or Paris.
Let's do it.
I guess most people think of France is a huge country. It's like people just think, oh, Paris is like, no, it's like this whole other country there to explore. So, cool. I mean, like I said, I think those were great things to do on your bucket list. I think
it was up to 23, so we weren't that far off of 50, guys.
Yeah, like I said, we did. I mean, we've been going at this for a while, so we don't want to bore you to death with the next 25, right? To say it the least.
I can't think of anymore.
But if you're watching this, right, Brandon, you're watching this. What's on your bucket list, my man? Now that you've jumped on, we've missed you, man. It's been forever.
Put some on.
I've been calling you out, hey, I need my fact checker, right?
Or math. We need help with math.
Yes, we need help with math. But if you're watching this and you have something on your bucket list, drop it below. Let us know. We'd love to see what that is on your bucket list before you're one of your top 50 things to do. But anyways, there comes a moment in the show, if this is the first time you're watching us, even if this is not the first time you've watched us many times. Right? There's a moment in the show. Well, look at Brandon.
Oh, taking over the world.
Of course.
Perfect.
Of course. Pinky in the brain, right? But if you're watching for the first time, or if you're not watching for the first time, right, there's a point in the show where we like to divulge one of our favorite things to do, and it's the Millennial Meme of the Week.
Millennial Meme.
And so I actually, in the next couple of days, I'll be getting a jingle for us for the Millennial the Meme. We haven't done the next thing yet, and we'll go into that here in a second. But it is the Millennial Meme of the Week. And without further ado, it is Mel's turn. Well, Mel's turn for the Millennial Meme of the Week. And I haven't seen these. So if you're watching for the first time, we don't get to see the meme. But I can kind of see that, Mel, do you only have one this week?
I do. I controlled myself. I usually have two because I can't decide because I like variety. But I definitely decided because this was right up my alley. So, yeah. Okay. So we've got. I'm gonna just take the other thing down so we can't. Okay. The bubble. Can you take the bubble down, Billy? Operator. So it's my bucket list. 1, buy bucket. 2, buy wine. 3, fill bucket with wine. 4, drink bucket. Drink bucket. So, what could be better than drinking a bucket of wine on your bucket list? I love it. Fill bucket with wine. Drink bucket. I love wine, and I thought that was
amazing.
Good. So
I love that.
We will post that. And I will post I have all mine typed up here, and we will post them as well. Yeah.
Well,
share them
every so often, right? Mel gets to do the Millennial Meme of the Week, but she gets a double dip on certain weeks because it's also at the end of the show. It's Mel's moment.
Mel's moment.
Where Mel gets to share with us a little tidbit of information, maybe a tip. Maybe a trick. Who knows?
A trick.
But it's Mel's turn to tell us, to lead us into the weekend with some good information. So Mel, your moment, take it away.
Yeah, and I just make this up, guys. I don't think about this, but yeah. So I was talking last night, and I think this goes into perfectly about the things that you want to do is life is way too short. Don't wait. So these things that we've been talking about are obviously things on our bucket list. I know that some of them we said that we already started, and are very attainable things to learn, places to go, things. Sometimes we get it costs money. So that's what we're here, wanting to have that financial freedom to do the things that we want. And us millennials love experiences. So most of these things are experiences that we want to have. But yeah, you never know what could happen tomorrow, and the opportunities that you may not have to do these things that you really want to do and you've always wanted is, screw it, just do it. Hey, this is the background there.
That's Meg's mom.
Hey, Meg's mom. But don't wait. And here we talked about these things. I'm probably not going to become a detective or be in a biker gang, but those things that we do really want to do, start planning and don't look back and have regrets. So this weekend we are celebrating another birthday. It's Trisha's birthday weekend, so we're gonna have some fun tomorrow and just enjoy your family and your friends, and start crossing off that bucket list.
Amen to that. So anyways, guys, we really appreciate everybody that jumped on, especially for our 50th episode. We appreciate all the comments, all the sharing, all of the likes. It really helps us out. We just want to provide as much value as we possibly can. So make sure you're always checking us out every Friday at 2:00 for another episode of MillenniYell, and we'll be having another one in Friday. So about another week from now, you'll be checking us out again.
And hopefully Carly will be on.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get in contact with her and we'll let her know. But like I said, like Mel said, just to harp on that, just make sure you're making some good memories with your family. Yeah. Right? You don't have to travel abroad to make great memories. You don't have to do something super extravagant. You can just be in your own backyard making some good memories with your family. So do that. Take the time, because like Mel said, not every moment's guaranteed. So anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Have a good one. See ya.